3 weeks now. When it comes to the process of getting to meet players or chat with players and just getting to meet people who may be new to you and new to what you want to do and stuff like that. The onboarding process, what's that like?
Well, Paul, Gabe, thanks for having me.
No problem. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys too. The onboarding process has been, phenomenal, honestly. And it's not just players; it's really getting to know everyone in the building, players, coaches, support staff. I think, within a team, everyone's kind of role is important. So I like to kind of go down to the equipment room, to the training room.
Yeah.
Really meet everyone. I'm still learning names here.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm working on. But I've talked to a number of players. Most guys, most of the vets, a lot of the kind of year 1, year 2 players haven't hit everyone just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been just a little bit of watching the tape, getting to know the people within the building, and then seeing kind of the strengths and weaknesses of the players on our team.
Have you chatted with corner Patrick Peterson? And the reason I ask is he's been here a couple of years, and in all my years of calling games for the Vikings, you just come across people every so often who just talk a different language and are just calculated, and they'll wait and think to present their answer. Doesn't it? You don't have to come over the top on somebody with the right answer. And I just really enjoy chatting football when I get the opportunity with Patrick. Have you chatted with him? And if so, what do you know about him?
Yeah, I've had a couple of conversations with Pat P. Obviously, great deal of respect for him as a player, as a man. He's put together quite the resume. So he and I have had some really good conversations. I'm excited at the possibility of working with him, and I've had conversations with him along with some other guys. But like you said, he is very calculated. He's
just very chill,
very football savvy,
yeah.
Knowledgeable. I think his leadership is something that has helped a lot of the young players on this team this past season, and obviously in his previous seasons throughout his career.
Yes, sir.
B-Flow, I know you talked about getting accustomed to Minnesota, finding your way around the building, learning names. I guess my question for you is, has it been tougher getting and navigating around how big and immaculate TCO PC is, or has it been tougher learning the gritty from your sons who are big Justin Jefferson fans?
Man,
and you said at your press conference you do a version of the gritty too.
I have a version of the gritty.
We got cameras here and money in our pockets.
I don't think this is the time right now. This isn't the time.
But we got money in our
pockets. There will be a time and a place.
Yeah.
There will be a time and a place. But
we might hold you to that.
TCO.
Absolutely.
TCO, it is a phenomenal training facility.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find my way around it, but it's such a beautiful building, really state of the art. There's nothing that the players don't have, that we as coaches and support staff don't have. I think it's a phenomenal building. I've done my gritty through the building from time to time.
Have you really?
You got to look at the security cameras now.
I check for cameras beforehand.
Well done, Mike Saravo.
Yes.
Your new inside linebackers coach.
Yep.
I'm familiar with his name, but not familiar with his work. What do you and the guys like about him? And working inside with who you have there now on roster with free agency and the draft and everything.
Yeah.
And you being just being an elite linebacker coach mind. I mean, that's just kind of like we see special teams, we see assistant with offense back in the day.
Yep.
But it seems like linebackers is something with which you're very comfortable. And to be the inside linebackers coach for you as the defensive coordinator, man, I mean, that has to mesh, right?
Absolutely. Well, I've known Mike for a long time. He was actually a GA at Boston College when I was a freshman there.
Wow.
Really, that was the only year we spent together, and we've kind of known each other through the years and kept in touch. But really, that's the only year that we were together. He went off and kind of worked in the college ranks at Columbia. Was at Temple for a while. Went back to Boston College. Was a position coach there, and then came into the league with Carolina the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Very bright, great teacher, which I think is really the most important piece of coaching is being able to teach, having various teaching methods, and his relatability with players is something that is something that we really value, and he has it.
Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores with us at the 2023 Indianapolis Scouting Combine.
And B. Flo, during your press conference, you used the words aggressive but not reckless to describe what a B. Flo defense looks like in Minnesota. But for a cornerback, what does success look like for that position group?
The first thing that comes to mind is tackling. And really that's the case, throughout the defense. You got to get off blocks and tackle. You do those things, you're going to put yourself in pretty good position to have some success. But that position, it's all encompassing.
Yep.
They're out oftentimes on an island with probably the most skilled athletes in the world. So technique, fundamentals, footwork, hand placement, it's all got to be right, to cover the receivers in this league. They got to be hardworking guys. They got to be tough guys. They got to, enjoy the physicality of the game. Really, that's kind of what we're looking for across the board. But that corner position, that's a man's position in this league.
Yeah, agree.
And when you started responding, I chuckled because it just reminded me of your introductory press conference, and you were talking about tackling. But then you started talking about players who don't get off blocks. And it's like, winning is first and foremost.
Oh, yeah.
And giving up, 16, 17, 18 points a game, that'd be great too. A lot of great things are possible. But when I saw your face when you were going on and on about players who can't get off blocks, that works on your very last nerve, doesn't it?
Well, I think it's in a lot of ways it may be a little bit of a lost art.
Yeah.
I think it's something you got to work on a daily basis, like anything else. You want to be, good at math. I talk to my kids about it. You want to be good at multiplication? You got to practice. So it's something that I harp on a daily basis. We do it in individuals, we do it in group period, we do it in team periods, and hopefully it manifests itself, on Sundays in the game. But it's something that's so important and so vital. Look, offenses, they do a great job.
Yeah.
They're going to get you blocked or, attempt to get you blocked. Part of our job is, occasionally we can get somebody free, but we got to work on, putting our hands on people and getting off blocks, defeating blocks and getting involved.
So
getting 11 hats to the football.
Effort, desire, want to.
Violence.
All of that.
Put it all together.
Anticipatory skills, that has to be part of it, right?
Absolutely.
Anticipating what's coming.
Yeah, I think, formationally, down and distance-wise, these are things that, we'll be talking about really, day after day after day. Situations are a big part of the game. There's tips, tendencies that, obviously our coaching staff will try to give to the players. Obviously those tips will be predicated on who the opponent is. But all those things and creating a heightened awareness is part of what we'll try to do as a staff defensively. And hopefully, our players can take that information. It's one thing to teach it and apply and give them the information. I always try to tell guys wisdom is the application of knowledge and understanding.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll give them the knowledge. We'll help them figure out how to understand it and why, or to give them that understanding, but then they got to apply it.
Right.
That's something that, we're always kind of harping on. The application of all the things that we talk about in meetings, walkthrough, practice, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
A lot of your former players, Brian Flores, have said that you have a lot of sayings. And a saying that really stood out to me was something that they said. You say you always tell your players, don't let our expectations of yours be bigger than the expectation for yourself. Yeah. What is the origin of that?
Wow. And that's not what your pastor said before your press conference, right?
No.
Because you referenced something there, too, a couple of days later, being like, I was at church and my pastor said, I can't remember what that was.
Well,
that wasn't that.
I'll take kind of tidbits from a lot of different places. What my pastor said is you can either have control or you can have growth. You can't have both.
Right.
Which that touched me at that moment in time.
I think I've stolen it on this radio show 3 times, so thank you. And it's beautiful.
It's coming for more.
Okay.
Yeah.
But specific to, the
expectations.
Don't
yeah,
let
the
don't allow
expectations. Yeah, don't let my expectations can't be bigger than your expectations for yourself. I think that's, when you're dealing as a coach, you're dealing with young men, especially in today's society. They're dealing with doubt, fear, anxiety, things that. The stresses of playing, especially playing in the National Football League. Some guys are just, in a lot of ways, trying to get by, trying to survive.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I think hits home with them. Don't let my expectations be bigger than your expectations for yourself. And I think it just kind of infuses some confidence in them. All right, like somebody believes in them. Like my coach believes in me, and I do. I say it sincerely. It's not just, hey, let me say this so they can maybe inspire them. I think when it's said, it's because I truly believe that there's a little bit more that they can put forth and get out of themselves, and the fact that you're saying that that you're saying it means that it struck a chord with someone. So that means a lot to me.
It resonates, no doubt.
For sure. And for me, it kind of makes me think that somebody believed in you, which helped you believe in other people. So who was that person that believed in you that helped you kind of have this big picture mindset of what this Minnesota Vikings defense can be in 2023?
Sounds like a stylistic song.
There's a lot of people that have, believed in me and poured into me, over the course of my career. It's funny, you mentioned that. There was a player, Nate Ebner, who said that exactly to me.
Okay.
He said, I think we were having a conversation about, I was a position coach at the time.
Safety, right?
I was coaching safeties.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ohio State, I think.
Ohio State,
yep.
a former rugby player, Olympian. We were having this conversation about, hey, there's Flo, what do you want to do? You want to be a coordinator? Do you ever want to be a head coach? And at the time, I was just so focused on them, and I just said, hey guys, I'm not worried about that. I'm content right where I'm at. And he says to me, I hope my expectations of you aren't better than your expectations for yourself. And that hit me.
Yeah.
So it was that was a cool moment.
Full
and
circle.
I think that was kind of the point where I realized, hey, maybe I can lead a defensive group. Maybe I can lead a team. It may have been a little bit of a turning point for me.
Well, that doesn't happen often. I mean, kind of like off the Patrick Peterson question, just the unique nature of the way he looks at things at this stage of his career. He's not 4-2 anymore, but still can pick off passes and stuff like that. A player presenting something like that to his position coach or his coordinator, and it's not confrontational,
no,
that's beautiful. I wish there was more of that in the world.
And I think, that's the kind of atmosphere that I want in the room.
Yeah.
I love guys who ask questions. I mean, I think they're supposed to ask questions. We have to have answers as coaches. And guys who are looking for clarity, guys who are, looking for an edge. I never want to bog that down.
Right.
And I think, that's the kind of environment, we'll try to create here in Minnesota in our defensive meeting rooms. Hopefully there's a lot of dialogue. We'll try to create that dialogue. We may throw some questions in there to create some dialogue.
Damn, got a test.
Homework.
I got a quiz and a pop quiz and a test.
Right. Yeah.
Come in, you don't know.
But players do get graded, so, I mean, their test is on the field, right?
Absolutely.
And the homework during the course of the week. It's beautiful. Brian Flores, defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings at the NFL Scouting Combine. Mike Tomlin, and the year you spent with him. What was that like, and what do you appreciate about Mike?
Oh, there's so much so many, great and positive things I can say about Mike T. He's first off, he is a phenomenal human being, but as a coach, as you sit in his meetings, and he's got a nugget every day, and he talks to, offense, defense, special teams. He's hitting you with nuggets about life.
Yeah.
It's all encompassing. I like to think I'm pretty good up in front of a room, and I'm sitting there taking notes, really on a daily basis. It was such a positive experience. It's so different than anything I'd been exposed to. I think exposure leads to expansion. I learned that in church too.
Right.
Amen.
Exposure leads to expansion.
Leads to expansion.
And you can't have control and growth at the same time. I'm still trying to deduce that, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we can hit that later.
Well, because the leaders who are in control, I would look at it, actually have the greatest growth possibilities, because if you're going thy, not I, the growth is within your covenant, and it's not with you. And then inherently, with everybody else growing, you grow, and the totality of the team grows. You know what I mean?
That's a big picture view.
It is kind of overarching,
no doubt.
isn't it?
That's an overarching global view of it.
Thank you.
But individually,
Yeah.
individual.
I understand
growth,
that.
You know what I mean? If we talk about just strictly individual
Yeah.
growth, I think it's this opportunity, I think, was going to allow me to grow offensively, watching Kev and how he operates, defensively, being in front of the room and working with our coaching staff to really kind of grow individually and collectively as a team. In the kicking game with Matt and his expertise, and then just seeing a different way of doing things just from a big picture standpoint, so that my individual growth, I could
I see that.
I could see that.
Well, we might have the most
direction.
aggressive staff with coordinators.
Yeah.
In my 21 years calling games for this team, this might be from OCDC special teams coordinator. I mean, we know Matt from last year, man. He's got the punter throwing in London.
Yeah, I mean,
Kevin's unbelievably aggressive. One of the first things Brian said at the press conference was, "I'm aggressive by nature." So I'm like, you got some lions out there just ready to come in.
And it all marries together, and hopefully it leads to success for this 2023 Minnesota Vikings team. And Brian Flores, understanding that, what do you want success to look like for this Minnesota Vikings defense this year?
For me, I measure success in daily preparation.
Okay.
I want to succeed one day at a time. I want to have a successful day. And I think if you string successful days together, you're going to have, overall success.
Okay.
Look, this is 2023. It's going to be different than 2022. It's going to be different, which is going to be different than, any other year. And we've got to build.
Yeah.
And really that's going to start, when the players get in on April 17th.
Can't wait.
We'll start to, kind of build, really in all phases. Obviously, specific to the defense, it'll be a one day at a time process, and kind of that compounding interest, as people often say, from that daily grind is. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I view as success.
Yeah.
And we'll have small successes and small failures in between, but like every year, you learn from both. You learn from both successes and failures, and our growth as a team, as a unit, that's very important to me, and I want to see that really on a daily basis. And you only do that by, as they say, chopping wood every day.
Carry water.
Well, it's with you coordinating the defense and free agency and the draft. I mean, a lot of things to be done here. So, you can't control anything that took place last year. So, with that known and said, do you think this team definitely needs a better pass rush without blitzing?
Do I think it needs a better pass rush without blitzing? I think it all works together.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what's the situation?
Yeah.
Is it third,
like you said at the press conference.
Is it 3rd and 7? Is it 2nd and long?
Yeah.
Is it early down?
Okay.
Who are we playing? There's just so many variables. That's what I love about the game.
Which players on the adversarial line don't get it?
There's so many variables.
Yeah.
To just put pass rush in a bucket. I get it. I understand why the questions asked. We want to create pressure. We want to have sacks and pressures.
Yeah.
But what exactly is what is happening? What point in the game is it?
Right.
Would you rather have pressure in the first quarter when it's 0-0?
Yeah.
Or when it's 17-13, in the fourth quarter in the last drive? I think it's there's so many variables. It's a hard question.
Is finding a pass rushing defensive tackle, I guess it'd be a 3 technique, but is Aaron Donald, obviously that's highest of high end.
Yeah.
Is finding players like that this day and age almost as difficult as finding the right quarterback? You know what I'm saying? Because that middle pressure is so important.
I mean, look, I think, pressure up the middle, pressure on the edge, obviously getting it right in front of the quarterback. if you can get that, I mean, you're doing a lot of good things, and
Right.
that'll open up, a lot of the defensive playbook. Is it hard to find those guys? Yeah, it's hard to find. It's hard to find those guys, and oftentimes, if you have that guy, they're going to send two guys at him anyway.
Right.
So you're going to have to find a complementary player.
Yeah.
And I think again, it really never really is about one player. Or one guy who's the key to making it all happen. It's about getting the collective to be on the same page, and really kind of row the boat in the same direction. And if you can have that and you're doing that, then the plays will happen. And it's not going to be one guy.
Yeah.
To me, the best teams I've been on, there's been, maybe they're putting a lot of they're paying a lot of attention to that one specific guy. Well, hey guys, you guys are one-on-one. We're gonna work some magic over here because we know, the offense is telling us what they're gonna do over here.
Right.
And in that way you're dictating.
So you're sitting in your hotel room late February in Indianapolis, setting something up in the first quarter for the third quarter for a game at Lambeau Field.
Oh yeah, this we're playing.
That's awesome.
Planning ahead.
There's certainly
That's awesome.
a complimentary.
You're excited.
Play calling.
Yeah.
Piece to this for sure.
Yeah.
I know we're
Not
talking.
to give out too many secrets because
I
I know they're listening.
I hear you.
We all know they're listening.
No, their table's right over there. They're looking for their coach, but he ain't coming.
They keep side-eyeing you. Like, what is he talking about? But one thing we haven't talked about is stopping the run.
Mm-hmm.
How, where do you prioritize that when it comes to pass rushing?
That's the key to it all. I mean, if you can't, if they're just running the ball and there's no reason for them to get into, any pass formations to create the pressure that we're looking for, I think it starts right there.
I mean, to PA's point, too, of that defensive tackle being able to do both.
Yeah, can he do both? But, specific to the pass rushing question, we never get to that point if we don't stop the run. And something that, our players are going to hear is we got to earn the right to pass rush.
Yeah.
You got to earn the right to intercept the ball. And we do that by getting off blocks, stopping the run, limiting those big plays or those chunk plays, however they come, via penalty, via run, via pass. You got to limit those chunk plays. And that'll be a point of emphasis for us right when they get here.
So players like Chris Jones for KC, they're rare. I mean, every spot, right?
Yeah, three downs.
And position flexibility, I know, is super important. Or you said that at the press conference. But, I mean, he's high-end. This is a high-end example here. But, like Aaron Donald, you're not going to see him at left or right end, frequently at least. Chris, you see all up and down. So finding something like that, I would imagine, answers so many questions on so many levels, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like it's like having a really good receiver.
Yeah.
They're going to put two guys over there. So, you can tack with two guys over there, or, you can tack the rest of the field with the rest of, your other players need to make some plays as well.
You're worried about that Green Bay table.
It's the same with
that's why he became staccato. It's like, what am I saying right now?
I think it's the same with with a great defensive lineman like you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that guy's going to just make plays because that's the type of player he is. But it also opens some other things up for us defensively.
Lastly, from Miami, where you were the head coach, then you're in Pittsburgh working with Mike. Now you're here. And how many kids you have?
I've got 3.
Okay, 3, all under the age of
10. So my son turned 10 on Sunday.
Happy birthday.
Happy belated.
Happy birthday, Miles.
Did the gritty for him, didn't you? Popped
did.
out of a cake and everything.
I did. So he turned 10.
Yeah.
My son Maxwell is 8. He'll be 9 in April. My daughter's Lily's 6.
Yeah. And
6.
You've been a head coach, so perhaps you'll be a head coach again. But, I mean, what I'm getting at here is with a family, specifically kids that age, you settled into Miami for 3 years for a little bit, and then 1, and then now you're here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as, take the profession and put it to the side. Being Brian Flores, the dad, the husband, and stuff like that, to be able to get to a spot and be there for 5, 6, 7 years, I mean, specifically through high school. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something I would imagine you covet, right?
That's something that I've thought about extensively. Part of the profession, that was these last, I would say, 2 years has, I would say been tough on my wife and tough on that transition is not easy.
Understandable.
And as you're, looking at jobs, I mean, that definitely becomes a big part of the conversation between myself, my wife, the kids.
Yeah.
stability is important. But my wife is just tremendous. I think my kids have become very resilient over the last 2 years. They welcome new challenges and new opportunities. They're really excited about coming to Minnesota. We've made some great friends in Pittsburgh. We really have. I mean, that city, that town, the people there, I can't say enough good things. And I was there this past weekend, and I was with our, crew of friends, really every night, whether it was, a dinner at, the McNally's house or the Lions house. Then we ended up at, a dinner together the next night, and my son's birthday party on Sunday. But we had, we met some special people, and, my kids they're going to miss them.
Yeah.
But we also know that there's some great people here in Minnesota. Not here in Minnesota, we're in Indianapolis, but in Minnesota.
I know what you mean.
And we're looking forward to building some new relationships. And plus, we got a court in our house, so
right.
in the house
Nice.
we bought. So my kids love that.
Well, it's going to be great. It's going to be great having you here in some capacity through 2030, if only for your kids, man.
Let's do it.
All stabilize and everything.
I'm very open to that.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance on the radio, and then that first day that I met you with Carly at right before your press conference. Man, you excite the fan base, and your track record is that of equity, and I'm really excited to watch your defense and just see how this whole process goes, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm excited.
Not my defense, it's our defense.
All right. I'm excited to play basketball in your court now.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's
Come on over.
All right, sounds good.
He went I, not I. I'm in.